Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Your Brain on Air. I am Ollie Boat Larson. It is so lovely to be back in the studio with y'all. The studio being my kitchen table. I'm not even gonna lie. I try my best not to most of the time, but there is quite a bit that's been going on today. I updated everybody as to the latest goings-ons with some local news. Quote, I messed everything up. Former Minnesota Senator Nicole Mitchell to serve 6 months for burglary. That's probably one of my favorite stories of the last week, only because it incredibly took place in my hometown, as you may have heard from the last episode. I'm not gonna rehash. There's not really anything new on this information, information-wise, but there is quite a bit new going on in the world, so that is exactly what we're here to talk about today. First things first, listen, I know that we say Antifa is not an organization, but guys, listen, it's time to get organized. Biden said that you were an idea back in 2020. Everybody remembers that? It was like Antifa is an idea, it is not an organization. It's time. Listen, guys, you're too messy. Look at the Proud Boys. They have a layer. They have Enrique Tarrio. They have a head of leadership. They have some level of hierarchy, guys. If you listen, I'm gonna just get into this story, and you're gonna know exactly what I mean by they're incredibly disorganized. Yes, this is meant to be a mildly satirical take. I feel like I shouldn't even have to say that at this point. Okay, major breaking news. A shooting at Dallas ICE facility that left one detainee dead and 2 injured. Look, guys. Carved on the bullets were anti-ICE messagings. Listen, this was clearly a move, once again, by somebody who aligns with political left. I obviously they're against ICE. Obviously, I'm not saying you got to stand for anything that they're doing in your communities. That's not at all what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that this gentleman, 29 years old, do we have an ID? Yes, we do. 29-year-old Joshua John, Jahn, John, I believe. Interesting. Oh my God, this man, wow. If you have not seen this gentleman, I encourage you to look up his mugshot. He is, oh my God, he makes me want to go get a haircut. These long-haired, stringy-looking weirdos. He looks like he'd be in a polycule. All right, anyways, he freaks me out. FBI Director Kash Patel posed that John, I'm just going to say John, allegedly left a handwritten note that said, hopefully this will give ICE agents real terror to think, is there a sniper with AP rounds on that roof? Referring to armor-piercing rounds. Patel also said, further accumulated evidence to this point indicates a high degree of pre-attack planning, with the suspect allegedly downloading documents titled Dallas County Office and Homeland Security and Emergency Management that contained a list of DHS facilities. Anti-ICE messagings were written on the casings. All right, there's no word yet on a possible motive, according to ABC News, but if you have eyes or if you are common sense in any meaningful way, you can put this together if you're a thinking person. However, the FBI said that the rounds found near the suspect contain messages that are incredibly, quote, anti-ICE in nature. Patel released an image of the recovered shell casings that included one engraved with the phrase anti-ICE. And pictured here, you can see these unspent casings up here. I'm going to actually link the ABC News article just so everybody can get this. This was uploaded also on his Twitter, X, FBI Director Kash /X. This is very, listen, when I say you need to get organized because everybody says Antifa's not organized, well, guess what? You're going to end up taking a shot and killing the exact person that you were there to save. Like, my take is going to be this. This kid was a damn fool. He's not a threat anymore. He spent himself, apparently. You don't have to be a fan of people coming into your communities wearing masks and, given people a rough time. I'm not saying you got to be a fan of that. But I'm saying if you want to meaningfully protest against it, if you want to, if you want to have any sort of pull with the public again, this exact type of bullshit that you're pulling, that you pulled before, that I'm not saying you specifically, meaning the left, but that incredibly radically minded folks that believe that violence is the answer, they instantly, and by the way, they generally don't tend to represent groups of people. I'm a fan of what Kimmel said, where he's like, this is a sick person who believed that violence was an answer. Yes, absolutely. However, this does not disqualify the fact that people that this person likely was a fan of, this first person voted in Democratic primaries in Texas, he was likely radicalized by people's continued, I'm not going to say, all right, look, people are really colorful with their speech, especially with this administration. Ever since the election, everybody's been saying, well, that was the last chance for our democracy, despite the fact that Kamala Harris was not a candidate that anybody voted for. She was essentially picked off of the garbage heap of history. I love that phrase. And placed in a role that was essentially predetermined for her. Listen, you want to make a difference in this world? Great. Do not go for your dad's rifle. Do not go for your grandpa's rifle. Don't do any of this nonsense, this bull honky that is just going to continue to get us, This gentleman, I'm sure, thought that he was a hero. Total dipshit move, in my opinion. This person was sitting on top of that roof going, listen, I'm gonna save the day. And he didn't. He did not save the day. As a matter of fact, he made an ass of himself. And I believe the people that he thinks he represents, the people that are deeply not in favor of this, the people that didn't even vote for this in the first place. Listen, not everyone who voted for this realized that they were voting for it. Ironically, I understand that. Admittedly so, they were conned in by the idea that it was the worst of the worst that was heading out first. It was the high-level drug offenders, and not per se the woman who's been here for 10 years, who works at your deli, and she's got a son. Or I'll even come up with a better example. There's a lovely Chinese woman in my community who owns solidly the best Chinese restaurant in the city. I'm not even lying. Her kids, when I went to school with one of her kids, they used to do math in the lobby. And as any person who's gone to a Chinese restaurant knows, that means it's going to be delicious. And it was. It was incredible. What I'm saying is that people who'd come to this country, had built something for themselves, were decent people in their communities, but just so happened to be illegal. No person, for some reason, who voted for Trump had the foresight to assume that they would be the ones that would be gunned for, essentially. It's a whole shebang. It's a whole thing. Hey, this is spooky times we're living in. You know what I mean? A former actor for Superman joined ICE, and now he's like, we have to defend the homeland. And I'm like, we're using Israel language. What are we doing? Stop calling them Gestapo. That's not helpful. And it's probably exactly what encouraged this gentleman to take up arms and head up on that roof. How about we just, we say we're not a fan of people being removed from our communities. Let's say we're in favor of paths to citizenship and leave it at that. How about that? That's a great idea. And we'll wait out these next 4 years. Stop saying that there's not going to be another election. If you continue to say that, you're only fanning the flames to make psychos like this go out and do more horrible stuff. There will be another election. Enough of the fear-mongering. Kamala Harris she's dropped another book, guys. Don't worry. She's going to come back and she's going to lose us the next one. We have nothing to worry about, all right? We have absolutely nothing to worry about. The brat energy will be back for 2028. I assume Tim Walz is running for governor again, so I don't, probably not going to be running for president. That's fine. It's okay. This is a deeply tragic situation. My condolences go to the family of the people who have been injured and the victim, and I guess I can throw a little sympathy the way of the shooter's the shooter's family. Sure. You guys probably didn't know that he was planning such horrific stuff. It's normally, you can't blame the family of people associated with it. My sympathy goes to everybody in this situation except for the monster. So let's just leave it at that. I think that's a great spot that everybody can sit with and go, I feel comfy with that. I'm okay with that. We're going to be human. We're going to be sympathetic to the victims, to the people in the situations, the families. And the gentleman who committed these heinous acts will, they'll fall to the side, and they will not be remembered fondly. And that's all. Boom, bang. My take is done. Moving on. Federal prosecutors filed the first criminal charges in a $14 million Medicare fraud scheme involving a Minnesota autism program. The defendant, Asha Farhan Hassan, is accused of using her company, Smart Therapy LLC, to fraudulently bill the state while also participating in the separate Feeding Our Future fraud case. If ever anybody who was alive during the COVID era absolutely remembers Feeding Our Future, this was a big scheme that essentially... This was a nonprofit organization based in Minnesota, funded in 2016. It claimed to distribute many thousands of meals to school children during the COVID-19 pandemic, but stole hundreds of millions of dollars while providing few or no meals to most of its locations. This was a crazy... I remember seeing this on the news, and I was like, oh, Minnesota, we're in the news. Oh, okay. I thought it would be the Mayo Clinic or something nice. So... This is the U.S. Attorney's Office stated that this is an ongoing investigation and part of a web of massive fraud schemes in Minnesota. Minnesota is laden with fraud. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that many people like to think of it as the land of diner counters, gentle blonde women who will bake you a casserole, and their gruff, beard-having husbands who drive at Ford F-150s. That's kind of accurate for northern Minnesota, yes. But in general, there is apparently, while everybody is eating Dairy Queen, while everybody is relaxed in their log cabins, there's massive federal schemes going on where their tax dollars are being funneled to Asha Farhan Hassan and her apparent shadowy partners, according to the lawsuit that has been filed. This literally just broke today. The charge is a count of federal wire fraud. Company. Hassan was the owner of Smart Therapy LLC based in Minneapolis. Her plea that she's going for is she intends to plead guilty. This is the timeline. Apparently, November 2019 through December 2024, Hassan and her partners allegedly operated a scheme that defrauded the state's early investment development and behavioral intervention program. They billed Minnesota Medicaid for millions of dollars in services for children with autism, but the claims were fraudulently inflated, billed without a provider's knowledge, or for services that were never rendered. Wowza. That is a... All right, listen. I'm sure we can all agree there is such a thing as our diagnosis for something grows, like we're able to diagnose something easier, so obviously we're going to catch more cases of it. That also can explain the rising rates of autism. Admittedly, and I know this isn't a popular take, some of these cases are social contagion. I know not many people like to say that. There are instances of self-diagnosis. There are instances where people are being treated for things that they don't really have. There are instances where the people are misdiagnosed or they have different sorts of conditions that get mislabeled ADHD, autism, all of these sorts of things. We can agree that all of these things are true. There's rising rates of autism. Is it Tylenol? Is it Tylenol? Is it acetaminophen? They don't even recommend that pregnant women take their products, which a lot of people don't like to remember. But if you go back to their Twitter page in 2017, they literally tweeted they do not recommend that pregnant people take their products. That is not even that was years ago. That was a statement from them. There's rising rates of autism. That's going to happen. There are lowering rates of Tylenol use, which is, I don't know if that really supports their case. Thank you, Dr. Mike, for informing me on that. This woman apparently would go to families, and this is the scheme they'd operate. They would sign these families up for this program. They would make sure the child received a diagnosis of autism, some of whom were not actually diagnosed with autism. And these families would sign up for the maximum benefits. Medicare, Medicaid, they offer, Minnesota's one of the better ones for autism and such, like at-home care, all of these sorts of things. This woman allegedly paid kickbacks of $300 to $1,500 per month to parents in the Somali communities to enroll children, some of them who were not even diagnosed with autism. Authorities state that the fraudulent funds were used for personal gain, with hundreds of thousands being sent overseas, including to purchase real estate in Kenya? What? Okay. Weird. There's a connection to Feeding Our Future. The investigation into the autism scheme grew out of the massive Feeding Our Future fraud case, which Hassan was also charged with. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't read that right. Sorry about that. She's accused of using her Smart Therapy company to fraudulently claim nearly 200,000 meals between 2020 and 2021, receiving approximately $465,000 in federal nutrition funds. This makes Hassan the 76th defendant charged in the Feeding Our Future case. There are likely more to come. Man. So this is a big one. So guys, I would recommend that the next time, you move to a new community, the next time that you're like in a bigger city, the next time that even like anyone, I would say, comes to you and says, hey, do you want to sign up this and this and this? Look into it a little bit. I would say it is partially your responsibility as a citizen, to know that you're not getting into a scheme. I will blame this woman majorly. I think that she is the primary person. But it sounds like a lot of these families with the kickbacks were in a weird, strange way okay with it. Or at least they were comfortable enough using their child's misdiagnosis to collect funds and payments monthly. Now, do I think that deserves criminal investigation? Probably. Do I think that deserves maybe Child Protective Services getting involved? Probably. If you're willing to misdiagnose your child with autism in order to get money from this random, schmo from Minneapolis, I don't know that you have the fortitudes to be a parent. I know that sounds a little judgy. Don't worry, it's not even my most judgmental take. I judge people who, they live in accordance with ways that are just going to be a little more disheveled. Like, I see people engaging in, having children before marriage. I'm a person who's not even religious, and I think there should be a level of commitment between your parents before they decide to bring a life into this world. Or at least there's a level of... people are hearing this and they're going, what? They're going like, what? Are you Catholic or something? And I'm going, no. I just believe that it's the most stable institution to raise a kid in. And then people go like, what? And I'm like, I am liberal leaning, but I entirely believe that the best possible environment for a child is a union, a marriage. A child, like a mom, dad, there you go. Or dad, mom, if you're, if you want to practice same-sex marriage, all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. That's my basic idea around it. I think that the idea that you're having a child, but you're not willing to commit yourself to this person for the rest of your life, I think that's a little weird. I think it's a little suspect. I think it's a little strange. But that's okay. I'm not saying that I'm not saying I would encourage a law per se that says you must be married in order to have children. Fuck no. That's stupid. That's dumb. Why would anybody do that? My stance is just that it is the best possible idea. And I'm not going to say that you need to do it. I'm not going to say that you, like, whatever. You do what you want to do. I think it's awesome. I don't think it's awesome for your kid. But look, just my take. Literally. Just my take. You don't got to listen. You don't got to hear me. That's the beautiful thing about this country, is that we can live in the same world, have not the same opinions, but just be all right. I can literally see the Israeli agent outside my window centering his sight on me right now. I can see it. I sound like a schizophrenic. This is great. I love this energy. What was I talking about originally? Oh, yeah. So if you misdiagnose your child with autism, yeah, you deserve to be criminally investigated and you deserve to be held liable. So listen, this woman, Asha, beautiful name, ethnic Somali. I'm not saying that matters. I'm just mentioning like all that we know about this woman. We don't even have photos yet. I'm just trying to give information. I'm not trying to racially profile. I'm not trying to do whatever. I'm just trying to say the facts. Asha, you got a beautiful name. Let me see if we have a picture of you yet. Asha Fahar Hassan. Boom, there we go. I don't know that we got a photo of her, but let's take a look. No, they got her under wraps pretty good. All right, whatever. Her defense attorney's doing really good keeping her out of the public eye. He's like, oh, she really feels she feels so bad about this. She realized eventually that there was something going on, but at that point, people just make mistakes, and you're like, well, wait, what? I understand that you're a public attorney, but this isn't even a defense. This is just you going like, she just did it. What do you guys want her to do? You guys put $14 million in front of her. You just don't ask her not to steal it? Are you dumb? That's how things work in this country. You put $14 million in front of somebody, they're going to steal it. They're going to steal it. That's what's going to happen. So anyway, Asha Fahar Hassan, I will be paying your bail. If you would like to drop that public defense idiot who is like trying to get you to plead guilty, contact me. I'm Morgan & Morgan. I am legal defense. I can help you out. We'll go ahead and we'll say, look, she didn't know how to do the books. What do you want her to do? I will stand in a ill-fitting suit in a courtroom in Minneapolis, and I will stand for this woman and the entire Somali community. Apparently, this is largely where she had this operation. I will stand for her and the entire community. I'll say, look, this woman was unfairly prosecuted. You put $14 million in front of her and just asked her, please, don't take our money, please. What did you want her to do? This woman, she's got to pay rent and own a boat. She needs a plantation in Kenya to hide away from when you realize what she's up to, she needs to hide away. She needs to run away. Do you not understand? Like, by the way, also, hot take. Asha Fahar Hassan, I am curious if we would have let this slide under for like another 5 years, if we would have seen her maybe like running for something. I'm curious about that. Or if she would have taken the Epstein rich person route where she just kind of stays in the back. You know what I mean? That mansion in Kenya, she lives in it for a while, and then that's her hideaway. That's kind of like where she isolates, but she's like influencing the grander politics. She's at the DFL conference in Minnesota. That's like, who knows where this woman would have ended up? All I'm saying is that the billionaire elite, there are not enough women of color, and I kind of wish there were more. I wish that we would have. I think that what I'm ultimately trying to say is free Asha Fahar Hassan. Why did you put Farhan Hassan? Jesus, I can't talk. Free Asha. Free her. What did she do to you guys? What did she really do? Tell me that. Nobody wants to talk serious and honestly anymore. They want to talk about this or that. Oh, $14 million here, $14 million there. I don't care. Feeding our future, feeding our bank accounts. That's what it is. Okay, we're going to move on from this. Asha, if you would like some legal advice, just like Senator Nicole Mitchell, please, we encourage you to reach out to the show. We would love to talk to you as soon as possible. Next time I'm in Minneapolis, we're gonna hit Little Mogadesh together and get some flatbreads. You know, we're gonna be a real team. I promise you. I'm gonna come down there. I'm gonna save Minneapolis. I'm gonna save you. Love you, Asha. In the words of I think the queen of our era, Sabrina Carpenter, that boy is corrupt. Because, man, Trump is at it again. Listen, I don't know if anybody else is following the statue, but I would love to inform anybody who's not already aware. There is a Trump-Epstein friendship statue. It has unfortunately been regrettably been removed from the national Capitol grounds. So this statue, it was briefly displayed in front of the DC's National Mall. It was removed less than a day after. It was a bronze-painted installation titled Best Friends Forever. It depicts the two men smiling at each other with an arm and a leg raised as if mid-frolic. Now, listen, I love so much the level of care and design that must have had to go into this, because it looks, if you look at the picture that is available, I will link one from NPR. I will link into the description an article from NPR where you can view this image. The level of craftsmanship that they clearly had to put into these two men is remarkable. The marble tombs that these men are standing on, these big pillars, it is absolutely incredible. And then Jeffrey Epstein's likeness, I would like to just say, it's remarkably close. Quote, "In honor of Friendship Month, we celebrate the long-lasting bond between President Donald J. Trump and his closest, parentheses, closest friend, not parentheses, quotations, Jeffrey Epstein," reads the plaque, emblazoned with hands making a heart shape. September is widely recognized as Friendship Month. You know what, guys? Why haven't we brought that energy? Maybe that's the theme of this episode. Guys, this is a turning point. Turning Point USA. This is Turning Point USA. We gotta have a little love. We gotta have a little more love in this vibes. You know, Charlie Kirk died. It was so bad, nobody talked about 9/11. Did anybody actually talk about 9/11? Am I the only one who posted on his Instagram anything for 9/11? I didn't even post anything. I linked a video of cats saying, "From the creation to the glory to the tragic ending, we will never forget." I shared that lovely thing, and it had that one song. What is it? "Here's to the ones that we got." I love that one. It's like, you know, it's good. It was a good meme, and I felt like I was the only one who was mourning. I was the only one, apparently. My fellow Americans, y'all fell short. We you know, no wonder George Bush missed all of our houses. No one left jet fuel and cookies out. Nobody has the 9/11 spirit anymore. What happened? Back in the day, I remember I was in elementary school. I was born in 2003, meaning that the terrorist attacks took place 2 years before I was born. I was born into the 9/11 world. I remember what a unifying experience 9/11 was. I remember how warm school felt that day. I remember your teacher showing you footage that you probably shouldn't have watched at that age, but admittedly, no one should have watched it when it happened. No one should have watched it when it happened, but a lot of people watched it happen live. So we relived that trauma every day. We experienced it together. We held hands and we cried together, and we were like, oh my God, this is so tragic. And maybe you knew somebody, but probably you didn't. If you were from the Midwest like me, you didn't know anybody. You knew someone if you were from Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, but you didn't know anybody if you were from Minnesota. Maybe. I don't know. I might be discounting someone as someone. I'm sorry if I forgot about you. If you had somebody pass away, I'm so sorry. If you're from Minnesota, it's really sad and it's tragic. My point is that lovely vibe, that love, that energy. Where is it? Where's the love, guys? 9/11 came and went this year. There was nothing. It sucked. Am I going to have to throw a 9/11 party next time? My name's Ali. How well do you think that's going to go? Listen, I know it's not spelled A-L-I, but it's A-L-E. And it's close, and it's pronounced the same. And if they see me throwing a 9/11 party, they're going to, like, I'm already... Do you realize how hard it was for me to fly? I have a real ID and they still checked me. They still pulled me to the side when I was flying into Cincinnati earlier in August. They pulled me aside and TSA, this was during the real ID bullshit. I have had an enhanced ID. If anybody knows anything about anything, they know it counts as a real ID, and it always will. It is essentially, it also works as a passport. If I go up to Canada, I could cross the border if I just showed them this. These fucks still pulled me aside and acted like I was gonna bum rush the cockpit. They still treated me. And look, I'm not even mad. I understand your suspicion. I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad. But just bring some love next time. Next time you're patting me down, next time that you're going through my bag and you almost find my weed vape, give me some love. Just go, maybe this man named Ali he doesn't have bad intentions. You know, I'd understand if I showed up and I was looking like a suspicious fellow. I don't look like, I look like a geek. I'm not even lying. If you see me in person, it's the glasses side part. You're not intimidated whatsoever, but I'm treated like a criminal. But that's... Honestly, it's every single American at this point. But, and these fucks still made me take off my shoes. It's bullshit. If you fly anytime soon, they still make you take off your shoes. I know they said that they stopped it. It didn't happen for me. I'm just sharing a personal anecdote. And from what I've heard from other people, they have been forced to take off their shoes. That bullshit that Trump was like, it's over. The tyranny is over. We're not going to make you take off your shoes. You're still making me take off my shoes. I had a really good time on that flight, actually. Cincinnati, by the way, we fly into Cincinnati, and I say that this is like the most beautiful airport I've been in. Listen, Minneapolis, it's crowded. The people mover is dumb. I think that the gates are a nightmare to sit in. We had an early morning flight. We flew from Fargo to Minneapolis, and then we had a layover to Cincinnati after that. The filth that permeated the Minneapolis airport. I'm not even this is not an exaggeration. It is every person of every creed, of every race, of every, people who can just afford to fly these days have no class. I'm sorry. This is undeniable and it's true. They don't know where to put their neck pillows. They put their feet underneath the seat so far that they kick you in the back of the heel. People have no dignity anymore. People have no class. There's no consideration. By the way, the golden age of flight, nobody's alive that experienced that anymore. No one's alive that was like, oh man, I really miss smoking on airplanes. I know that happened in the late 90s, but who's alive from the late 90s? Nobody. Literally nobody. If you are, you're ancient. 9/11 is a very special date, and I just wish that it brought the unifying love to this country that it used to. And I'm sure a lot of you feel the same exact way, you know what I mean? I could do without the radical fear of Islam and things like that. But, 9/11, ladies and gentlemen, it's the reason that I took so damn long at the goddamn airport. Cincinnati, it was weirdly, by the way, Ohio, I'm going to give Ohio credit for this. They gave me less of a hassle than Fargo. Fargo, North Dakota, really, they practically, I was like, are they going to strip search me next? And they were like, no, we just have to tell us where the address on your license. Name one other family member who lives there. And I was like, Jesus Christ. And then they were like, everything looks good. And I'm like, yes, because I'm a citizen, you dumb fuck. It's fine. This is a world of international terrorism. This is a world of domestic terrorism now. No wonder we have these operations. We have to keep ourselves safe. The surveillance state. This is what we need, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be kept safe. We need you don't need anything over 3.4 liquid ounces. Shut up. Get on the plane. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I don't know when we're going to be back, but I like to keep it at that half hour. No, I don't like to take up too much of your time. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. Much love from the show, from the host. I hope that you all are blessed in your endeavors and your futures. Have a great rest of your week. I have no idea when I'll be back next, but I hope that no matter what, if you don't hear from me next, you do well. You know, I love you. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you next time. This has been your Brain on Air with Ollie Vogt Larson. Bye-bye.